Welcome to the world of running. I'm your host, Aditi Pandya, and this is our 40th episode. I still feel the same excitement while researching the topic and talking to the expert as I did in our first episode. Thank you to all our listeners who have encouraged and provided continuous feedback to keep us going. Before we go any further in today's episode, I have a request for all our listeners. If you like our podcast, please leave a rating on your preferred channel. Also, do share with other fellow runners who are yet to discover us. If you want to further have any tips to boost your running, head over to our YouTube channel, Geeks on Feet, and hit the subscribe button. We publish an informative newsletter on weekly basis that brings the latest from the world of running straight to your inbox. You can sign up at geeksonfeet.com/newsletter. In this episode, we'll discuss one of the most overlooked aspects of running, that is breathing, and how runners can improve their performance and health through better breathing. To discuss this, we have Sunil Menon, author of the book Breathe Better, Live Better, and The Power of Conscious Breathing. Sunil Menon is the founder and the head coach of Menon Fitness Systems. Sunil quit his 18 years of IT career to start Menon Fitness Systems with a mission to influence the right habits of an active lifestyle by providing training and nutrition plan. He started teaching 8 years back in 2016 and has his mentees all over the world. Sunil is a two-time Ironman finisher. In July 2019, he participated in Ironman Zurich, which he completed in 13 hours and 26 minutes, and was the winner of the 2012 Bangalore Ultra. He's a Boston qualifier and has ran it in 3 hours and 5 minutes, which is also his personal best. He's a certified Ironman coach from Ironman University in 2015. Welcome to our podcast, Sunil.
Thank you, Aditi, and thanks a lot for an elaborate introduction. I'm excited to be on Geeks on Feet podcast.
Thank you for accepting our invite. So I must say that I was reading your book to prepare for today's podcast, and breathing is a natural and an almost subconscious activity, right? Most runners focus on running specific training, strength, and other nutrition. And I actually realized that how much as breathing, it is so vital, and often it takes a backseat, and how breathing impacts our physical and mental well-being. Now, as runners, we know the importance of oxygen availability during aerobic activity, and Sunil, I would like to start by asking you that as runners, what do we need to know about the importance of breathing, and what happens during our running that makes it so important?
Well, I think it's an excellent question. So, breathing, you start breathing when you are basically born, and the last breath you take is when you die. So, that's the most important aspect. And luckily for us, it is something that we can control. We cannot control our heart rate, we cannot control the internal function of our organs. But what we can do is synchronize our breathing and make sure that we do it in a way where we are in sync with what we are doing. So most of the times, what we are always focusing on is when we are running, your thought process is in a completely different angle, right? You are thinking about something else, or either you're talking to your friend. You're not focusing on your breathing. When we start focusing on breathing when we are running, we are trying to synchronize our breathing with our steps. And this is the most important aspect that every runner should understand, because that leads to efficiency. Imagine you are having in a car, there's a piston, right? And there is oxygen, and then this fuel is injected. If these two pistons are not in sync, basically what's going to happen is your energy efficiency of your car or any vehicle is not going to be optimum. When you synchronize your breathing with your steps, you're actually optimizing your energy levels and trying to go a bit further without getting fatigued.
So, Sunil, the other thing is that what are the common mistakes that runners make, and how do these affect our performance?
Yeah, so when I speak to various runners or people whom I'm coached with, many of them tell that on the internet they said that mouth breathing is okay, inhale from nose, exhale through mouth is perfectly fine, and there are different concepts that are there on the internet, and different coaches and different experts have their own take on the subject. Now, the reason why I have gone deep into this topic of breathing is I was asthmatic when I was around 15, 20 years old, and I had difficulty in breathing. So my trip to Germany was something that was a blessing in disguise, where I was quite nervous about, how will I be able to survive in this weather? It's so cold. And I started breathing slowly. And this made me realize that, your body has the ability to, rectify itself or make itself strong if you just focus on the breathing aspect of it. So, one thing that we need to try to focus on is trying to ensure that you're not hyperventilating. Specifically, runners, they tend to hyperventilate, right? Inhale through nose, exhale through mouth, or inhale through mouth, exhale through mouth. Also, specifically when I run with people who I don't coach, among my friends, I often try to correct them. I said, don't open your mouth while breathing or exhaling. Keep your mouth closed. When you hyperventilate, what happens is your carbon dioxide levels go down, though your oxygen levels are over. So what basically you need carbon dioxide even for your own performance. So it's not that carbon dioxide is evil, but when you start hyperventilating through your mouth, or trying to breathe into your nose and exhale through your mouth, you're not allowing the exact mechanism for your body to actually retain a little bit of carbon dioxide so that you don't fatigue. So one suggestion I always tell runners is inhale through nose, exhale through nose, because your nose has a capability to not only clean up the germs that are there. Your nose has hair follicles, it's got mucus. It makes sure that the germs do not enter your lungs. Another mechanism that's very important for your nose, that nose does, is basically it warms the air before it enters your lungs. So your nose has very important functionalities which your mouth cannot do. So you have to make sure that you breathe through your nose. The other important function of your nose is it produces nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator, and that will actually help you thin your blood so that it does not impact your performance. So these are the important things. I hope I've answered this question.
Yeah. So, Sunil, you are talking the importance of nasal breathing, right? And you also spoke about some of its importance here and how it is helpful. But for runners, especially, as the mileage increases, right, there will be a time when our breathing is all over the place. So, why can you focus as to why, even if they are running for longer distances, nasal breathing can be helpful, right? If you can exemplify it or give an example with respect to nasal breathing and its helpfulness.
Yes, I think it's a great another great question. So here, what I want to suggest is, there are different levels or zones that we basically train on, right? We train on aerobic zone, and then we have a tempo zone, and then we have the threshold, and then we got sub threshold, and all those VO2 max workouts. So when you are running on an aerobic zone, which is like a conversational zone, I recommend 4:5 breathing. That means 4 steps of inhalation and 5 steps of exhalation. Now, when you are doing speed workouts, specifically when you're doing a track workout or interval training, you can get down, and for tempo workouts 3 is to 4, and for speed workouts 2 is to 3. So 2 steps of inhalation and 3 steps of exhalation. And that is enough for you to, get to your maximum performance. Now, I never open my mouth even when I'm doing interval training. And that literally helps me make sure that I'm breathing efficiently. The objective is to breathe efficiently and not to breathe more. Does not mean more is good. How you build your lungs, how you build your efficiency is more important so that you are able to get optimum performance and optimum results from your training.
Understood. So, the other thing that I have personally observed, and I've also read in your book, is the importance of breathing mechanics and body posture, right? And I generally feel that the more fatigued I am, my you know I naturally lose out on my posture, right? And I naturally start hyperventilating. And can you help us understand how body postures affect breathing, especially when you're running longer in your tempos, etc.?
Yeah, today's most of the people today have a very simple problem that is there because of the mobile and internet world, is the forward head posture. Your head is way forward than it's supposed to be. And now if you really understand our body, our spine is still our earlobes. Okay, so when you are running in a position where your shoulders are rounded and your neck is in the forward posture, you are basically restricting the airflow into your lungs. The other problem with this is you are not recruiting your muscle groups. Basically, your core goes out of way. You're not going to be able to recruit your core as well as your glutes and hamstrings. So most of us are very strong in using our quads for running, but your glutes is like a 1,000 cc engine. It's a bigger muscle group. Your hamstrings and your glutes together can support you run miles and miles together. Humans are made for endurance. They are not fast animals, right? You can outrun a cheetah if he has to run a marathon, right? So that is the importance. So we are made for endurance. If our posture is not right, we'll not be recruiting our muscle groups properly. And breathing itself needs a proper posture, right from your spine till your shoulder position, and also your tongue position also matters, your jaw position also matters. So these are very important things that help you not only you know feel better, look better, but also recruit the right muscle groups.
So can you share the different methods to improve breathing mechanics?
Yeah, the first thing that we need to do is to make sure that your neck, your jaw is right back. That's the first thing. No forward movement of your head. Second thing is your tongue position. Your tongue position should be on the upper palate. So when I train my trainees, I just tell them put it on the upper palate. Okay. Third, your jaw position should be exactly in line with your upper teeth. So they should not be forward or they should not be back. So this is the first thing that you need to do. Okay. Now, coming back to the next part of it is what we call as three-dimensional breathing. Okay, many people must have read on the internet about diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing is very good, and many people say belly breathing, but it's not belly breathing alone that can help you improve your efficiency in breathing. You have to do three-dimensional breathing. So three-dimension means first you expand your side, then you expand your belly, and then you expand your chest. In that way, what happens is your lungs get enough space to increase the amount of air you inhale. So, if you're able to increase the quantity of air that you inhale in one breath, you will require less breaths for your activity, right? Whether you're playing tennis or running or cycling or swimming, your energy requirements or your breathing rate automatically slow goes down if you're able to breathe efficiently. So three-dimensional breathing is the second aspect that I would always recommend apart from the posture to improve your mechanics of breathing. Okay, and the third, of course, is rhythmic. Whatever activity you do, if you're able to synchronize it with your breath, you will get more efficient with whatever you do. It's very simple example. Rhythmic does not mean only for running. Let's say you're playing badminton, right? When you are about to hit the shuttle, you have to exhale.
Hmm.
When you are when the opponent is hitting the shuttle, you need to inhale. This is how you need to. So breathing has a lot of aspects to it. Same thing with cricket. I think there are a lot of cricket fans out here also. When a bowler is bowling, the moment he releases the ball, he has to exhale. Moment the cricketer or the batsman is seeing the bowler, he has to inhale. Moment he has to hit the ball, he has to exhale. So these are small things, but they make a huge difference in your own performance.
Yeah. So breathing plays such an important part of endurance, and as you mentioned that, right, and it was a very good example between a cheetah and us, humans, that if it is a marathon, humans will outperform the animal, right? And but more often than not, we pay very little or no attention to our breathing technique, right? So what are the different breathing techniques runners should be aware of? And I actually read a lot of them in your book, so if you can just explain few.
Yeah, so I think many of us already know about yoga, right? We've got pranayama, we've got Kapalbhati, we've got Bastrika Pranayam. So I'm not going to cover those topics right here, but there are different breathing techniques like the Russian breathing technique, right? Let's say we're doing strength training. Most of us, when we do strengthening, we never focus on our inhalation or exhalations, right? So simple, when you're doing a push-up, you need to exhale. Okay, when you're going down, push down. When you're going to push up, you inhale. So when you synchronize your activity with your breathing, you're able to develop your muscles in a better way. So focus on that aspect of it, right? Now coming back to how to build the breathing techniques, right? Kapalbhati, Bhastrika, they definitely help you improve your lung capacity. But there are other tools and techniques that you need to work on. Specifically, what I would recommend is mantra-based breathing. Okay. Most of the times when we say we have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, like say box breathing, right? You inhale for 4, hold for 8, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. So, any type of box breathing, you can even convert it into a mantra based. Any mantra, whether and does not have to be religious based or anything. Based on your belief system, you can just create a mantra. Even if you don't believe in anything, you just have one mantra that is there that can actually make you mindful about your breathing. And that is the most important way to improve your breathing. But I would not recommend holding your breath. So, box breathing, where you hold your breath, you should not do more than 10 to 15 minutes in a day, because that's not good for health. So, anything that you do, you need to make sure that you do it in moderation to get the maximum benefit of it. So, box breathing is not for throughout the day. So you need to make sure when you do 5 to 5 breathing also, 5 seconds of inhalation and 5 seconds of exhalation, there's no holding of breath in that. So practice this type of breathing techniques, and definitely you will be getting better, and you'll find it much more easier to incorporate breathing in your workouts.
Got it. So Sunil, I also read about breathing economy and how can runners train to improve their breathing economy.
Yeah, so basically, I remember this Maruti ad, right? Kitna deti hai, right? How much, what is the mileage? right? So your breathing economy is also dependent on your energy systems. So basically, when you breathe in, your cells require glucose and oxygen to create ATP, right? And that's how that moves you forward. Now, when you have a proper breathing economy, which means you're breathing in efficiently so that your lungs are able to maximize the oxygen absorption and give it to your cells, and the cells are able to produce in optimally and produce energy out of it, right? So all these systems have to work together in synchronous, right? So when I say when you synchronize your steps with your breathing, you're actually improving your breathing economy. You're breathing lesser, you're breathing more, and you're making sure that you are getting this optimum performance from your. So economy basically is what's your breathing rate when you are sitting. Now when you're sitting idle, when you're just sitting here and you observe your breathing in a minute, if you're breathing more than 12 to 13 breaths a minute, that's a lot of breathing. Ideally, when you're sitting in a normal position, you're reading a book or watching a movie or watching anything, your breathing rate should be between 4 to 6 breaths a minute. Now, when you're running, let's say you're doing an easy aerobic run, then you can up to 10 to 12 breaths a minute. When you're doing a speed workout, definitely your breathing rate will go up to 22 to 24 breaths a minute. So that is your breathing economy.
So, so Sunil, as we run harder, we require more oxygen, right? And are there any specific breathing consideration as we increase our running pace and effort? I mean, what I'm trying to say is that if it is there a way of specific breathing between, say, an interval training versus a hard 5K versus a marathon?
Yeah, definitely. So now, when you're running a faster interval, your breathing rate is going to increase, and also your oxygen consumption will also increase, right? At that point of time, you might find nasal breathing to be very tough. So there are certain things that we can do. I use something called as a nasal clip here that expands your nostrils, basically. So when you're running faster, what happens is your nostrils tend to collapse. It tends to close in, and to prevent that, we use this nasal tool that is there that just keeps your nostrils, preventing it from collapsing together, can get it. So that when you're running a faster interval, you can still do nasal breathing without any issues. So of course these are things that you will need to take care during a marathon or during interval training or when you're doing a 5K, how to maximize your performance. If you read in my book, there's one uh, runner, Olympic medalist. She came, she got gold medal in the sprint division, and I think it was a 100-meter sprint that she was doing, and she never opened her mouth. So when you train yourself properly, it is possible.
So, in your book, you refer to training tools and protocols to improve breathing, right? And if you can give an overview of these tools.
Yeah, definitely. So before I talk about the tools, most of us do strength training, right? We work
Yeah.
on our glutes, hamstrings, arms, shoulders. We go to the gym. But have you ever done strength training for your lungs? Because your lungs is also a muscle group. Okay, a muscle needs training. So we have your inspiratory muscles and you have your expiratory muscles. So when you inhale, you're using a different set of muscles. When you exhale, you're using a different set of muscles. So we have devices that we use it where we are actually, you know forcing or restricting the airflow in a way where you have to put in more effort to breathe in. So there are certain devices like Aerofit that is there in the market that is a smart one which I have used, and there are simple ones that you can use. That's a mouth device and you can turn on the resistance of the breathing, and that will train your inspiratory and expiratory muscles. Again, there is a count to it. There's you cannot do it every time. There's just 10 minutes in a day, morning or evening. If you do that, you will see a huge improvement in your lung capacity and your breathing.
So I thought that swimming is the best way to improve the lung capacity, right? And that's why I just do once a week. I go for a swim, and I thought that, oh, I'm helping my lungs to get better. Am I is swimming anyway improving your lung capacity?
Swimming, basically, when you're swimming, you're doing mouth breathing. You're not
Yeah.
actually, doing nasal breathing. So, and the problem with mouth breathing again is you tend to hyperventilate. Again, when you're swimming, how you exhale in water, what is your stroke rate, everything matters, right? If you're doing a three
Yeah.
stroke breathing, then it is much better. If you're doing interval training, of course, you cannot do three stroke breathing. You will have to go to even two stroke or even one stroke breathing, right? So, again, you are actually hyperventilating when you're doing swimming. It is good for overall health, but it won't improve your lung capacity, or it will not strengthen your lungs.
Got it. Um, so, Sunil, as a coach, you have worked with several of your athletes, right? And can you share any interesting real life cases on how breathing have improved the performance?
Yeah, so I have athletes in Bangalore also whom I coach with, and I got a call during TMM, saying that, coach, my heart rate is around 170. Should I quit the race? What should I do? Because it's way too high. So first thing what I had to do was to calm him down, right? Obviously, if I would say no, quit the race, don't run, it's too high, it would have impacted him for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay, his confidence would have broken down. So first thing what I told him was just calm yourself down, slow down your breathing, just sit for some time, and continue with your process. And I said, if you feel that your heart rate is way too high, just put two fingers on your neck and just measure your heart rate for 10 seconds and multiply it by 6. That is your actual heart rate. So he did that a couple of times. He said, coach, it's coming to 130. I said, nothing to worry, go ahead, just focus on nasal breathing, 4:5, and complete your race. And he was able to complete his race much better later on. So what helped him complete the race is, number one, his relaxed breathing technique, right? I made him calm down when he was excited, when he was heart rate was shooting high, he was in a sympathetic mode. Moment I told him calm down, reduce your breathing rate, just take it easy, nothing to worry, his confidence level got better. So just by simply you know changing his breathing pattern, he was able to complete his race and get his confidence back. I've been training people. So let me tell you this, this is not a magic wand that
Yeah.
tomorrow if you start breathing 4:5 or rhythmic breathing or nasal breathing, within 2 or 3 months you're going to start getting PBs and all that stuff. This is a slow process. Breathing, nasal breathing takes time to see your performance. So um, it will take at least 2 or 3 years of nasal breathing to actually see your performance in your race. I once challenged myself. I said, I'm not going to raise my heart rate beyond 130 in TMM. And throughout the race, I was doing 4:5 breathing, very conscious, slow breathing. And I was able to do it in within 4 hours, 30 minutes. Only math based marathon within 4 hours, 30 minutes. I was clocking around 6:05 pace per minute, which was fantastic. And after the race, I never felt like I ran a marathon. right? So many of my runners who do a marathon, they finish it, they say, Coach, it doesn't feel like I ran a marathon because it's become so easy because you're
Yeah.
doing rhythmic breathing, because you're doing this, your performance improves, your recovery improves, and they're able to do all the activities, specifically like climbing up and down the stairs, which is the most toughest part once you finish a marathon, right?
Yeah.
They are able to do it easily. So lots of positive stories about the benefits of doing nasal breathing.
Yeah. So Sunil, if this is for somebody who's starting new, right, in their running, and what is that one piece of advice you would give them?
So focus number one on trying to rectify your breathing while you're walking first. Try to take small steps. Try to do 4 to 5 breathing while walking. Then slowly break into a jog. And every time you feel that you're running out of breath, start walking for a few seconds, get your breath back, and then switch to 4 to 5, or you can go 3 to 4. But always aim for 4 to 5. Your objective is to be able to run at least 2 hours with 4 to 5 breathing. So baseline your fitness by gauging this. Suppose you're able to do only 10 minutes of 4 to 5 breathing, and then you have to break into a walk, or you need to change your breathing rhythm from 3 to 4. Then you say, okay, next week I'll make it 12, or next week I'll make it 15, and try to reach that 2 hour mark of 4 to 5 breathing continuously. If you work on it for the next 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever time it takes for you to achieve that, you will see a tremendous transformation in your energy levels, tremendous transformation in your recovery. Your sleep will be much better, and you'll be able to run longer distances without any issues.
Understood. So Sunil, we are at the end of our today's episode, and I want to ask you one last question. That is, how can runners reach out to you and know more about you and your books, and where can they buy it?
So my book is available in Amazon.in. So you can buy the hard copy, or you can buy it in Kindle. So that's there. Anybody who wants to contact me, I am available on Instagram. Men in Fitness is my Insta handle, and you can go to my website menin.fitness, and you can just put in a query, and I will get an email and I'll respond to you. So these are few ways where you can always reach out to me.
So, all those who are listening, we'll be adding these links in our show notes. And thank you so much, Sunil, for taking out time for today's episode. And I wish you all the best for the coming years.
Thank you so much, Aditi. There's one more point that I would want to add is I'm writing another book on water. And that's a very interesting topic. Believe me, 70% of our body is water. But how much of water do we drink in a day basis? What's the quality of water do we drink? That is also the most important aspect. And my mind is just blowing off when I'm just doing my research on water. So definitely, I'm looking forward for another podcast with you that will be based on water.
Sure. We'll wait for your book to get released, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you so much, Aditi, and thank you so much for Team Geeks on Feet for giving me this opportunity to speak to you all. And looking forward to meet you all whenever I'm in any city. Please do let me know. I'll be happy to run with you all and talk to you about breathing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to thank all our listeners. And if you like this episode and would like to know more on the world of running, please subscribe to our channel. And if you know of someone who is starting their journey into fitness and running, do share our podcast link with them. I would like to thank my friend Arvind for editing, sound recording, and taking care of the post production for this podcast. If you have any suggestions on improving the content of the show or topics you would like us to cover, please share it by emailing us at connect@geeksonfeet.com. Or you can also reach us through Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram.